you're not supposed to have your core engaged all day. It should be activated, and there is a difference, especially if you're hypermobile. Let me explain. First of all, it's important to understand that we have more than just five senses. We have multiple sensory systems. One of those sensory systems that we don't talk about as often is proprioception. Proprioception is our ability to sense our body in time and space. It's positional awareness, and it's the feeling of stability. Another sensory system not talked about as often is interoception. This is our ability to sense things internally. Yes, it's feelings, but it's also internal sensations like hunger, muscle engagement, muscle activation. If you're hypermobile, you have impaired proprioception, which means our body's going to look for other ways to seek that positional awareness. And often we do that internally, trying to use our interoception. Unfortunately, though, this can lead to a lot of overengagement, overactivation, and muscle tension. And a lot of people struggle with interoception as well, which means that we may be looking for activation. And when we're looking for that, what we're feeling is engagement. And if we're looking for engagement, we might be feeling tension and overcompensation, or we might not be feeling anything when something is working. If we're looking to feel or sense some sort of muscle engagement or activation for stability, what often happens is we end up recruiting our larger superficial muscles, meaning the ones that are closer to the surface of our skin, because they're easier for us to recruit. Unfortunately, these are not our stabilizer muscles, and that's not their job in many of these cases. So let's break this down and dive into the difference. And I'm going to also preface this by saying that what I'm going to tell you is not necessarily going to be what everybody else is going to tell you, because what works for everybody else doesn't necessarily work for our brains and bodies. So it's going to be a little bit different. I want you to think of your muscles in three ways: relaxed, activated, and engaged. Relaxed means they're not doing anything, not working. Activated means they're just doing their job, basically hardly working, just holding on to things. Engaged is associated with effort. We engage a muscle when we need to exert effort, when we need to do something that requires additional. What often happens is we're looking for a sensation with activation that is actually associated with engagement, because usually when a muscle is activated, we don't really feel it working, or it takes a while for us to feel it working. And remember, our body needs the ability to do all three: relax, activate, and engage. If we can't relax, we can't appropriately strengthen our muscles. And if we can't find that feeling of activation or that non-feeling of activation, we're going to constantly be overexerting and creating additional tension when we're not meaning to. Now, I'm going to give you some real world examples of how this works every single day, the difference between relaxed, activation, and engagement.